Imagine this. You are staring at a page in a book. The words are there, but they won't stay still. Some seem to move, others flip around, and before you know it, the sentences have become a jumble. You try again, but the harder you focus, the more the words slip away. For someone with dyslexia, this can be their everyday experience. Reading, something many of us take for granted, can feel like a mountain that's impossible to climb. But here's the thing. Dyslexia is not about intelligence, and it does not mean someone cannot learn. It's about a different way of processing information, and that's what we are breaking down today. Hello everyone, this is Swati, and today's episode is all about dyslexia, a condition that affects up to 20% of the population. That's a lot of people. What's really important to understand is that dyslexia is not a sign of low intelligence or laziness, which unfortunately is still a misconception for many. Dyslexia is a learning difference that affects how people read, write, and sometimes even spell. But it does not stop them from succeeding. In fact, many incredibly talented and successful people have dyslexia, and I cannot wait to share some of their stories with you. Dyslexia has been around for as long as humans have been reading and writing, but it was not always understood as a learning difference. In the early 20th century, educators started noticing that some children, despite being smart and eager to learn, were struggling with reading. It did not make sense. They could do math, remember stories, and were great at hands on activities, but when it came to words on a page, they hit a wall. The term dyslexia was first coined in 1887 by a German ophthalmologist named Rudolf Berlin, who noticed that the problem was not with the child's vision but with how the brain processed written language. Since then, researchers have learned a lot more about what's happening in the brain of someone with dyslexia. Let's start with what actually it is. Dyslexia is a neurological condition that affects reading and writing skills. But it's not just about reversing letters or saying words backward like many people believe. It is the difficulty in understanding how phonological sounds make up words. For someone with dyslexia, recognizing the sound that letters make can be really difficult, which makes learning to read incredibly challenging. They often struggle with decoding the sounds with letters and how to blend them together to form a word, which makes them understanding the meaning of what's being read difficult. It's not that people with dyslexia cannot understand, it's that the process of reading itself is more challenging. There are so many myths about dyslexia that we hear all the time. One of the biggest is dyslexia only affects boys. The truth is, boys and girls are equally likely to have dyslexia, but boys are often diagnosed more frequently because their struggles might be more noticeable in the classroom. Another big myth, people with dyslexia will never be good readers. That's just not true. With the right support, whether it's specialized reading programs, assistive technology, or simply understanding teachers, people with dyslexia can become excellent readers. They just need to learn in a way that works for their brain. So, what's actually happening in the brain of someone with dyslexia is when most people read, the brain's left hemisphere lights up and processes sounds, letters, and words pretty quickly. But for someone with dyslexia, that process does not happen as smoothly, which is why reading can feel like a slow, effortful task. But here's the thing. Research backed methods like multisensory learning, which engage sight, sound, and touch all at once, are helping people with dyslexia improve their reading and writing skills. Technology is also a game changer. Speech to text tools, audiobooks, and special fonts that make reading easier are just a few of the tools out there. I want to share a story that might surprise you. Do you know that Steven Spielberg, one of the most famous filmmakers of all the time, has dyslexia? He was not diagnosed until he was in his 60s. Think about that. He spent most of his life thinking that something was wrong with the way he learned, only to find out much later that it was dyslexia. He once said that reading scripts was a slow and painful process for him, but it did not stop him from becoming a world class storyteller. His dyslexia may have made reading difficulty, but it sharpened his ability to tell stories through film, a different kind of literacy. So, if this episode has resonated with you, I encourage you to learn more. Early intervention is key for all the difficulties, and there are so many resources out there, whether it's through school programs, therapists, or online tools. And most importantly, remember this: dyslexia does not define you, it's just one part of your unique brain. Share this episode with a friend, family member, or anyone who might benefit from hearing it. The more we talk about dyslexia and other learning differences, the more we can support those who experience them. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to better understand dyslexia.